Reddit fresh. Am I the idiot for asking for my sweater back from the girl my mom donated it to? My paternal grandma who passed away made me a sweater that I love, but my mom hates it to the point where she forbade me from wearing it outside of the house. It's a brown, blue and white sweater that is uniquely designed and is something that not everyone would have the taste for. But every time I wear the sweater, I can almost feel the warmth of my grandma, and it also slightly smelt like her. When I came back home from a friend's house, I discovered that my sweater was missing. My mom said when I asked her about it that I must have just misplaced it. My mom is an active member of the church, and the church that we go to has an outreach program there where food, lightly used and new clothes and other necessities are donated to people in need. Fast forward a week or so, I went to school, and this girl who's known as the quiet kid was wearing my sweater in the cafeteria, so I naturally go up to her and confronted her. I'll be honest, I am quite popular at my school, and confronted her with two of my friends who are also pretty well liked at our school. So I likely did come off as intimidating, especially to someone who usually is very quiet and keeps to themselves. When I confronted her, I said that I liked her sweater and asked her where she got it to, which she mumbled something under her breath that I couldn't understand. So I asked again, and she said it was donated. I asked her where, and she reluctantly said the church, and I instantly knew then what my mother had done. I told her that the sweater was mine, and that it was stolen from me, and that the right thing for her to do is return it to me. She didn't want to at first because it was chilly outside, but ended up complying after I offered to get her a new sweater by the end of the day, which I ended skipping class to do so and got her more than just a sweater. When I returned home, I returned wearing my sweater, which my mom was unhappy to see. She asked me how I got the sweater back, and I explained to her that I saw somebody wearing it at school and asked them to return my sweater. She looked shocked and angry and told me that she couldn't believe that I was so obsessed with that hideous thing that I'd even take it from somebody in need whom she donated it to. I told her that I can't believe she'd give away something that she sees as pure trash to somebody in need and still call it charity. She told me to shut up and called me ungrateful, to which I replied that she had no right to steal and donate my personal belongings. She said since I'm living under her roof, she can do whatever she wants to my belongings, and told me she would be reducing my allowance until I decide to part ways with the sweater. I don't know if I was being an a-hole in this situation, but will certainly give back the sweater even though it saddens me to see it go. Am I the idiot? Update. Just a little update. Before I start the update, just a header, I'll be giving the girl I wronged alias name because I now know her name and no longer feel right referring to her without one, so we'll call her Emma. I read all your comments and took to heart about how horribly I treated Emma by the way I approached her, and that my actions could set Emma up for future bullying or being shy to accept future help. I decided the right thing to do would be to apologize and ensure my actions don't affect Emma more than they already may have. After reading your comments, I decided to speak to my friends about how my actions caused humiliation upon Emma and to ask them to speak up for her if they hear anyone making rude comments about her. And I also spoke about me apologizing to Emma, and one of my friends told me they see her in the library often and that I'd be likely to catch her there. I decided to check there before classes started and saw her there. I asked if I could speak to her, and she was a little hesitant but did agree, and I explained to her that I was wrong in the way I approached her and apologized for that, and also told her the story behind my sweater. She was extremely understanding and accepted my apology, and even told me that she could relate because she also has a close relationship with her grandmother, who often likes to make things for her. I invited her to sit with my friends and I at lunch, and she was a little surprised that I asked, but told me she'd love to. We had a great time at lunch, and I told her that she's always welcome to sit with us whenever she likes. Emma seems like a really nice person, especially because she forgave me after I embarrassed her like that. I hope I'll be able to make it up to her in the future and that we become great friends. Everyone sucks here, except the girl who the sweater was donated to. Look, we know why your mom sucks, but you have to see how popular girls and her friends make girls feel bad about accepting donated clothes is not a good look. Everyone sucks here, except that poor girl you ganged up on. What on earth made you think that you were entitled to treat her like that? Asking if she would be willing to trade if you got her a new sweater is one thing, but angrily confronting her and demanding she take the sweater off is bananas. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for pressuring my significant other to change her dress before a professional event? This morning, my significant other was dressing up for a research symposium she's attending today. The one in which her senior class presented their research took place on Monday, but this time around, it is the underclassmen who are presenting their research. On Monday, the seniors were instructed to dress in business casual, but today there was no explicit dress code for those just attending the event. Given this is still a professional academic event, I expected the norm to still be business casual. My SO went with a dress that looked very much like this but a much brighter yellow and sleeves that only went to the mid-forearm. I told her that maybe she shouldn't wear this dress and go with something business casual instead, to which she insisted that this was business casual. I replied saying it was casual but not business, and we went back and forth like that a little bit. Ultimately, it's her call what she wears, and I don't typically try to change that. But this was a professional event, and I subjectively didn't think that dress looked appropriate on the occasion. I never was a big fan of this dress to begin with, and called it a grandma dress before, but the reason I had issue with it today wasn't out of personal distaste, but for her professional image, as these are the people she will be networking with for the rest of her career. At one point I said, "I just don't want you to embarrass yourself." And her response seemed to indicate that she didn't believe that was my real reason, so I thought she suspected I was just saying this because I personally didn't like the dress. After that back and forth, I thought about that last point and wanted to clarify that this wasn't about my personal taste. What I said came out something like this: "I want you to express yourself, and it makes me happy when I see you being happy in how you dress. But I only say this because this is a professional event, and I want people to take you seriously." For some context, many of her classmates in her small cohort and even some faculty had often been dismissive of her inputs, so that was an insecurity she had shared with me before, so I really upset her when I said, "I just want people to take you seriously," because she essentially heard, "People don't take you seriously," as if I was trying to change her dress in an attempt to fix her image, as if it was something needing fixing. I could have been clearer by saying, "People might find that dress a little silly," or something else that made it clear I was only talking about the dress and not her personally, if that makes sense. For more context, she is in healthcare, so she's worn scrubs to school almost every day, and she hasn't had many chances to express herself. In the end, she decided to go back and change into her scrubs, which I feel really guilty about. I don't think she was TA at all, but is this a no idiots here situation, or am I the idiot? Edit. Pretty late to add this, but someone mentioned that it changed their mind about the situation, and that I should mention this. My opinion wasn't unsolicited. She did initially ask what I thought about the dress, and for all the people arguing how accurate the picture is, you're just going to have to take my word for it. It's very accurate in every way but the color pattern. Same neckline, same unfitted flowiness, same poofy sleeves. In terms of the cut, the biggest difference is just that the wrists in the picture have a cuff, whereas hers was more of a spandex ring kind of thing. If I was concerned about making myself look good, I wouldn't have included all the details in the post that hurt my case. Also, this was going to be worn as is, with flats. No tights, no belt, no jacket. At this point, we've long resolved the situation and moved on from it. But my inbox is still blowing up, and I'm seeing a lot of these same misconceptions brought up, so I just thought to clarify. Not the idiot. I may get downvoted, but this is my opinion on the situation. I firmly believe in dressing for the job you want. I've heard this multiple times in my career, and I firmly believe it's true. The attire is called business casual. This dress is not business casual, and if people don't know how to dress in the appropriate attire, Google can help. Not the idiot. That dress is awful. It looks like a nightgown or what old ladies call a day dress. You were right to suggest she dress in something more professional. You could work on your wording to help her understand more. Say things like, more tailored, more fitted, in a more subtle color scheme, or things like that. If she doesn't know where to shop or what to wear, she should try Talbot's or Macy's or similar. Macy's has personal shoppers who can help her find professional and appropriate clothes in all price ranges, and the service is free. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for labeling my wife's tears as immature and subsequently being made to sleep on the living room floor? Recently, my wife asked to visit a temple and an open house on Saturday, and I agreed. However, I was running 30 minutes late as I got ready. While I was in the bathroom, she began to cry and shout loudly. When I rushed out, I found her sobbing uncontrollably and sitting on the floor for support. She expressed her frustration about potentially missing the open house. Although we typically attend open houses every weekend and can often visit on Sundays if we miss one on Saturday, I responded to her distress by saying, "I am ready, and I was already hurrying up in the bathroom. You have grown up. Even now, why are you crying like a child for something so small as that? Even if we can't make it to the open house today because it gets closed, it will still be open tomorrow and we can go. You are 32 years old, and still you show childishness. Maybe you think it seems hot or something." After this, I got dressed and asked if we were still going. My wife angrily grabbed frozen chicken from the freezer, slammed it into the fridge, and said, "You're right. So this is your shelf in the refrigerator. This is your chicken. From now on, you'll cook for yourself and sleep in the hall. I'll lock the bedroom door." For the past 5 days, she has remained in the locked bedroom, leaving only for bathroom breaks and meals. We live in a one-bedroom apartment, so I've been forced to sleep on the carpeted living room floor. We don't have a bed or couch in the living room, and she is only cooking for herself, so I've been eating out or cooking on my own. On the first night, I knocked on the locked bedroom door, asking for my pillow so I could sleep in the living room. She replied, "Fuck yourself." I asked again for the pillow and she said, "Fuck yourself, frick yourself outside. You're saying I'm 32 years old and not sexy anymore. Your face is as dark as your asshole." Note that I never said you are 32 years and not sexy anymore. I only said 32 years and acting childish. Maybe you think it is hot or something. We are both Asian Indian with brown skin, but my complexion is darker than hers, so her comment felt offensive. I chose not to respond to avoid escalating the situation, as she might have started screaming and disturbing our neighbors. Instead, I slept on a bedsheet on the floor, using a blanket as a pillow. Not the idiot. Your wife, who is 32 years old, acted unbelievably childishly to possibly being late for an open house, and those here claiming that you're the idiot seems to be reacting just as childishly. Sorry you have to put up with that nonsense, and the wrong person is sleeping on the floor in your home. Toddlers should be on the floor, not grown-ups. Everyone sucks here. I'd be leaning more towards NNTA if not for the "maybe you think it's hot" comment, low blow and almost certainly not the truth. Sounds like you said it just to be accusatory. Regardless, sobbing on the floor because you're 15 minutes late to an open house when you go to these things weekly. Honestly, I don't know if I'd handle that well either. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot? I, 32F, want my friend, 27M, to break up with his fiancée, 27F. I, female 32, have a friend Carl, male 27, who's engaged to Cora, 27F. Carl is part of the group I play D&D with. He's been dating Cora for 10 years. I'll say up front I don't like Cora. She is stuck up and looks down on us nerds. I have tried to be friendly and get to know her, but she just ignores me and stays glued to her phone or talks only to Carl. Carl says she is shy but really great once you get to know her. To spare his feelings, I never told him I don't like Cora. I didn't think my opinion mattered. I see her rarely anyway. Our group plays once a week. This is the only time Carl does anything on his own. He used to play with another group but quit to have more time with Cora. Last year, she started complaining about him going out to play instead of taking her on a date. We even moved the game from Friday to Wednesday, which was hard because it sounded like she really wanted Fridays to be their special date night. Cora was happy for a few days, and then the following week she was complaining again about Carl going out. So the issue is not the day of the week, just that she doesn't want Carl to spend time with friends. This is when Carl started looking unhappy and saying things like he didn't see a future for them. I tried to stay neutral because I felt biased by my dislike of Cora, but secretly I was hoping they would break up. Then he stopped talking about ending their relationship, and shortly after they were engaged. He didn't complain about Cora wanting him not to go to D&D night anymore. I thought they had talked it out and come to some agreement. However, shortly after, the problems returned. On Xmas, she gifted him dance lessons that were on the same day time as our games. Carl says she means well, and after they're married and start a family, he won't have any time for his hobbies. Carl skipped this week's session due to Cora again. I told Adam, mutual friend, I was done mincing words, and next time I see Carl, I'm going to tell him I don't think Cora is right in trying to control all his time or his hobbies, and he should think whether he really wants to marry her. Adam didn't agree, said Cora might be jealous of me and it's a prick move to mess with someone else's relationship. Adam doesn't think Cora has reason to be jealous, just it's how she might see it. To be clear, I don't have any romantic attraction to Carl, and I'm already in a relationship with another man. Carl is a great person, but not my type. I just can't stand to see my friend so miserable, and I want a frank talk with him. I don't necessarily want them to break up, but I think the current situation is untenable for Carl. If the genders were swapped, and it was a big burly man trying to stop his petite girlfriend from having any outside interests and meeting with her friends, it would be a huge red flag. I think I'd be more of an idiot if I didn't say anything. You're the idiot. You said Carl said he doesn't see a future. He wants to end the relationship. Carl is a grown man. If he's unhappy and meant what he said, I would imagine he would have already done so. The truth is, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors in someone else's relationship. It's fine to show concern for friends, but know your place and respect boundaries. You're the idiot. They've been together for 10 years, so they know their relationship better than you. Cora likely senses that you have a negative attitude towards their relationship and don't want her BF around someone who actively wants to tell him to dump her. Saying something to Carl will ensure that he stops coming to D&D altogether. Stay out of it.